Hello, thanks for clicking on this video. Today I'm going to be talking about an awesome band and an underrated band, Atrophy from Arizona. They're so underrated, I don't even know how many albums they sold. I tried Googling it. They're so underrated, I don't even think Razorfist knows who they are. I doubt it. I mean, he's never mentioned them. But they're from Arizona and they only released 2 albums. 2 really cool, incredible albums. And it shows you the power of, I guess, any kind of album or music. People have got to remember them. Remember those specific ones, especially just like with all the other bands that have released 7 to 10 albums since then. These guys have not released anything since 1990s Violent by Nature, which is kind of strange because it's like a 30+ year hiatus. And that's pretty crazy to think about. But the singer Brian Zimmerman, who was also on YouTube, message or just sent me a response or whatever, like saying responding soon, that they're working on something soon. So I don't know if it's this year or if it's going to be next year. I don't know how soon is. But anyways, to make this video relatively shorter, I'm going to be talking about both albums. I got this album in 1991, the second one. It's the first album. I got this album second because I bought it in 1991 because I just discovered them in 1990. Okay, so this album starts off with a heartbeat. Has this faded heartbeat sound and this other like ambient sound of like wind and what the heck ever. I'm not sure what it is, and this heartbeat. And I was like, okay, this sounds like an interesting thing. Anyways, it's about drug addiction, chemical dependency and all that stuff. And it was, I guess, a fitting opening because it makes sense because all that drugs and stuff affect your heart and slow your heart down or speed it up and what the heck ever. But anyways, I thought that was a really cool song. I like that whole anti-drug message within, you know, albums and bands and everything because, you know, people were saying back in the day, well, all these bands are doing is promoting drugs and all this other horse shit. So bands tried to counter that and to do stuff, you know, whether it be anti-war, anti-drug, or what the heck have you. Matter of Attitude. I like the chorus in it. I like the lyrics. I like everything about it. It's a really cool song. That's one of my other favorite songs. Preacher and Beer Bong are 2 awesome songs. Preachers, of course, obviously about preachers. People are preaching on TV. There's TV evangelists and what they're called. And Beer Bong. I guess I don't want to say you call it an anti-drinking song. I guess an anti, you know, drinking as much as you can and partying too hard and all that stuff. I've seen that nonsense and horseshit before. Drinking beer is alright, but when people start getting out of control and, you know, becomes a competition, that's what I always hated about it. Anyways, he mentioned several of the beers in there. And some of the beers I know, like Black Label, All Milwaukee, but like Pearl, I didn't know. Grain Belt, I know Schaefer.
All Milwaukee!
So the next favorite song off this is the song Socialized. If you look at the cover, like I did when I had the tape cassette, of course you can't see all the other missiles, but you can see the main one here. American flag, and then of course for those of you who don't know or didn't notice, it's the hammer and sickle on these missiles right here. And during the 80s, throughout the whole 80s and everything, there was the whole Cold War, there was the whole nuclear war, worry, scare, all this other stuff that was going on. We weren't sure if there was going to be a nuclear war. And there was a lot of bands singing against nuclear war. And, you know, the what if scenario and what if situation. But of course it never happened. And then of course the retards over here went to, the communism failed. And of course you know the whole story on that. So back then in 1990 and 91, between 89 and 91, once the Soviet Union collapsed and all that stuff, oh, there goes all their money, there goes all their weapons, and I was like, everybody was thinking, alright, good, there's going to be peace now and everything. We're going to become friends with Russia. They got no more military and everything. And of course, lo and behold, fast forward to about 30 years later, what the heck have you, somebody else is acting like a retard now. Not the people of Russia, but the retarded president.
Let's go!
So anyways, the song Puppies and Friends, which is really cool. It's a wicked opener. It's a really fast song, and if you don't know what it's about animal rights. All these animals are getting tested and, locked away and hidden from your sight, forced to live in artificial light. Just the lyrics of that song are just really cool, and I like how it's done, and it's an awesome song. It's one of their best. I don't want to say one of their best. It's an awesome song. It's probably the best song off of Violent by Nature. Next song, Violent by Nature. I really like that song too. I kind of disagree with the whole, little plastic war toys always within reach, replicas of war, lessons they teach. I kind of disagree with that. I watched all kinds of I played with all kinds of military army toys and all that other stuff, and watched a bunch of violent stuff on TV and everything. It didn't make me violent. That's just like when people are saying, oh, heavy metal is going to make kids violent. It's the same kind of thing, because people see the album covers and you see, the skeleton skulls, goats, and blood, and what the heck have you. The evil stuff that's on album covers. So they see that and they're thinking, oh, it's going to affect the minds of these young kids. They were saying that throughout the 80s, the 12, 15, 16, all these adolescent boys and everything. It's going to affect them. It's going to make them violent and stuff like that, which is a bunch of horse shit and not true. And I'll get into that in another time in another video. It's a wicked song, though. I really like it. It's an awesome song. When I say wicked, I mean awesome. Favorite song off of this one is In Their Eyes. Now, this one I completely agree with, because when I listen to the song, I think back to when I was younger, and I was like, oh yeah, hey, the world is a perfect place. Oh, everything's good, and it's kind of fine and dandy. That's what I was thinking when I was, when I was a young kid and I was growing up in the 70s. I thought that everything was peaceful and great, because everything that was surrounding me was, for the most part, peaceful and great. There was really never anything bad going on, though, that I know of. But of course, as I grew older, I saw, how more crazy and violent the world is. And once I hit my 40s, and yeah, things have just gone downhill since 2000. Things have gotten more crazy and stupid. Not to be negative, but it seems as though, and if you remember the year 2000 and beforehand, you'll agree with me that the world has gotten a little bit more fucked up, a little bit more crazy, and there's just more horseshit and bullshit going on. It's just a simple freaking fact. That's all there is to it. Next song. Change is pretty good. Slip Through the Cracks is a good. Every single song off of this album is a really good song. What's the next song? Forgotten But Not Gone, about the death penalty. About the death penalty. A lot of bands have written about the death penalty, of course. They never really, of course, say if they're against it or for it. I'm totally for it. They mention in the song kill them when convicted instead of waiting, which is true. And it is stupid to put somebody on death row for about many years. It's like, holy shit. If they're guilty, and if they know they're guilty, just kill the damn person. Process of Elimination is a really cool song. It's about population. Overpopulation will soon take its toll. And I was like, well, what is he talking about? He's kind of exaggerating to an extent. But I googled it, of course, and it seems as though, it was 6 billion people in 1990, and now it's 8 point something. It's almost up to 9 billion people. So it seems as though the Earth's population grows about 1 billion people every 10 years. So I just told you that. Now you don't have to Google it. Which would be related to my next video. The Right to Die. I think that one's a cool song. I don't know. I guess I agree with the subject matter in a ways. I like how it goes. I really like the chords to that, the chorus, and how it goes. I really like that song. It's a cool one. I'm going to look at the card once again. I want to give a fuck. Things Change. I think that one's an okay song. I don't really love it. It's a pretty good song. Once again, Atrophy has been back together since 2015. And I don't know whether they're pulling a Van Halen on us or what. Because they've been back together since 2015 and they're just touring or something. On to the next segment. These guys are not in the band anymore. The only original members are Tim Kelly drums and Brian Zimmerman vocals. Once again, Brian Zimmerman stated that they're going to be coming out with a new album. I hope they don't turn SJW on us. I hope they don't turn alternative on us and then just do some bullshit. I hope it's very similar to these albums. I hope it's a step up. I hope there's some wicked guitar riffs in there. I hope Brian Zimmerman is singing the same and like how he does on these albums. And I hope it's an awesome album. And if you haven't heard of Atrophy before, check them out. A lot of people that hear them like them. Some people don't. Once again, these guys are one of those bands it's hard to believe that they released 2 albums and then quit right there in 1990 or right after. So it was like 91, 92 when they quit. And kind of understandable though too, because they were thinking about doing another album, let's face it, between 91 and just throughout the 90s. Mid-early 90s, when the heck ever. Most of the metal thrash bands were like, you know what, why bother? Why bother to put out an album? Some did, and that's cool that they did. Some people stuck to their guns like Overkill. And some just were like, you know, we're not going to bother. Anyways, that's it. If you're new to Atrophy, check them out. If you're a fan of Atrophy, I hope you enjoyed this video and liked this video. It's an underrated band. I hope they gain some kind of notoriety, a little bit of popularity, if you will, with the next album that's coming out. Thanks for watching this video. See you.